there, and welcome to Monday, May 17th. So I apologize for being out, but my daughter was one of the people quarantined, so she doesn't get to go to outdoor lab. So I'm going to spend the day with her. Remember, I will now be out all this week, and you have a final exam coming up Wednesday and Thursday. So before we move on, you need to take the quiz for lesson 49. Keep in mind that anytime you have fractions, you need to put them in parentheses. That 1/3 needs to be separated from the x, so the x does not get included in the denominator. Same here, 1/2 x plus 5. That x plus 5 does not belong in the denominator, so 1/2 needs to be distinguished as the coefficient for x by putting parentheses around it. So please hit pause so that you can complete this quiz and then resume once that quiz has been completed and submitted. All right. If you're at home, make sure that you look at your notes. Did you have what you needed to answer the notes quiz? So this is what your notes should have looked like. Notes, and then there were 7 different models that you needed to work through. So let's talk about the quiz really quick and go over these. So, oops, I got to move that out of the way. All right. So number one, like 1 through 4 or whatever, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, b is the y-intercept, and x and y are coordinates. When you solve, you are going to put the m in for the slope and the b in for the y-intercept. These stay as variables, these meaning the x and the y. Wow. A-B-L-E-S. My pen is not working very well. So the x and the y will remain as variables, and we'll go over that a little bit today, but only the m and the b get replaced. You're going to solve for y using opposite operations, and be sure to show that work every single time, what you're adding and subtracting to move subtraction and addition, what you're multiplying and dividing to move division and multiplication. The solution is coordinates that make the equation true. And then keep in mind that a lot of times I'm not asking for the answer. I'm asking for you to talk to me or to type in the work. So number 1 asked, what's the y-intercept? Notice that that is a 0, -4 in parentheses. Those are coordinates. Number 2 drops down below. It asks, what is the slope-intercept form for 2x plus 3y minus 9. And once you rearrange that, you end up with y equals -2/3. So y equals a -2 over 3x plus 3. That's where I was talking about. You've got to put those fractions in parentheses so that that x plus 3 does not stay in the denominator. Number 3 asked you what the y-intercept was. It was 0, 0, because there was nothing added on for the b value. Number 4, moving over this direction, asked you what the slope was. The slope is really a -2. Okay, now if you put -2 over 1, that's fine. That's a ninja one that's not necessary later, but the slope was a -2. Moving on to number 5, what was the equation of that line? 1/2 x minus 1. It is a positive slope moving in the upward direction, so it's a positive 1/2, and it intersects at a -1. Dropping it down here to number 6, the question was, what type of slope was it? So you can think about Mr. Slope Guy, positive, negative, undefined, and 0 slope. That is a negative slope. It is headed downward from left to right. And then the last one, number 7, was a family vacation where there was an initial fee of $25 and then $10 an hour after that, and you were asked to graph it. But the family vacation was the storyline. So please think about the quality of your notes. As you move into next year, you need to get better at taking notes. Or perhaps you have all of this and it's not a problem. Okay, so lesson tips and tricks. The generic form for slope-intercept, you are going to fill in the y equals mx plus b. You are leaving the x and the b as variables. Okay? When you divide by a coefficient, opposite operations, divide each term by the value. So here, when I move from this first one to the second one, and I'm trying to get rid of this 4 that is currently multiplied by the y, I am going to divide 4 by 4. I'm going to divide the 2x by 4, and I'm going to divide the constant 12 by 4. That will give me a 1/2 x plus 3 when I solve, but every single term has to be divided by that coefficient. And then separate the coefficients so that you can see the slope clearly. So I'd rather you write it as 1/2 x plus 3 instead of x over 2 plus 3, or even a 1x over 2 plus 3. Separate out that coefficient so that you can see the slope really clearly. Remember that slope is rise over run, or the change in y over the change in x. So it's up and down first, positive if it's up, negative if it's down, and then left and right second. Again, positive if it's right, negative if it's left. The y-intercept tends to be a coordinate, so you want to write it as such. Your x value is always going to be 0, so it's 0 and b, whatever b is, as your y-intercept. And then keep in mind Mr. Slope Guy, that tells you the type of slope, positive, negative, undefined, or 0. All right, let's do a few practice problems. So I would suggest pausing and copying these down as we go. The first two ask us to determine the slope and the y-intercept of the equation. So let's take a look at these first two. So in the first one, I have a 0.7x. So my slope is the number multiplied by the x, but it does not include the x. So slope is 0.7, and y is going to be a negative 4.9. That is my constant added or subtracted onto the end. Here for number b, or letter b, we need to solve for y. So I need to move everything else away. So I'm going to add 9x to both sides. When I rewrite this right-hand side, I am going to write it in slope-intercept form. So the x goes first, 9x, and then plus the constant, which is 12. Now I need to divide every term by 3, not just one, but every one of them. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. That leaves me with y equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 3x plus 12 divided by 3 is 4. My slope-intercept form there is y equals 3x plus 4. So my slope for this one, I have to remember what they asked me for, is 3. So it's really 3 over 1. So it's up 3 over 1, rise over run. And my y-intercept is the first point where I'm going to start, and it is 0, 4. Okay. So again, hit pause if you need to copy the rest of that down. And I guess I could have slid that down. All right, C. So C says graph each line using the equation in slope-intercept form. So the first one, we have 3/5 x, and anytime you do not have a constant, it is 0. So my slope is 3 over 5. Remember, that's rise over run. And my y-intercept is going to be at 0, 0. So I'm going to make a y-intercept at 0, 0. And I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3 over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to do it again, up 3 over 5. I say that 2 points makes a line, but 3 makes you sure. Okay, so make a line there. All right, D brings us on there. We need to solve this. So I need that y by itself. Okay, so I'm going to subtract an x, and I'm going to add a 20. I'm going to subtract an x, and I'm going to add a 20 to that right side. Wow, I'm having a hard time with my screen today. All right, that leaves me with a negative 4y equals negative x plus 20. But I'm not done. I need to get rid of that negative 4 as well. Divide each one by a negative 4. Divide by negative 4. That leaves me with y equals a positive, negative divided by a negative is a positive, 1/4, remember, pull that coefficient out, x minus 5. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. So now I'm going to plot that in purple. Okay. So I'm going to start at a negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I guess I should write out the slope and the y-intercept. So my slope is a positive 1/4, up 1 over 4, up 1 over 4. And my y-intercept is at a negative, 0, negative 5. Okay, so again, back to purple. I'm plotted 0, negative 5. That's down here. 0, negative 5. And I'm going to go up 1 over 4. Make a dot there. Up 1 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my line. And if you ever run out of room going to the right, you can also go left, down 1, back 4, right? Down 1, back 4. A negative and a negative makes a positive. And then I'm going to draw my line through those points. And the other important thing is these are lines. These are infinite lines. They are going to go on forever in both directions and therefore need arrows. All right, E. E says, what's the slope and what's the y-intercept? So let's look at the y-intercept first. My y-intercept is there at a positive 4. So my slope, my y-intercept is at 0, 4. And then I need to pick 2 points that are actually clearly on the grid. So I'm going to go to this negative point here. That's a negative 2, 0. And then up to my y-intercept, which is, oh no, that's a negative 4. 0 and a 4, 0. So I take a look and that means that I would go up 4 over 4. So up 4 over 4, which reduces to 1. And if you take a look, each one of them is up 1 box over 1 box, up 1 box over 1 box. So there is my slope intercept form for that equation of a line, y equals 1x plus 4. All right, this one, my y-intercept is at a 0, negative 2. Okay, and then I have to pick 2 points that are clearly on the grid to hit my slope. So I'm going to pick this point here that is out at, what, that is a 6, 0. And so the first thing that I notice is this is going to be a negative slope, right? Mr. Slope Guy tells me that. This is going to be a negative slope because it's going down. So I'm going to count over. So that's 2, 4, 6, 6 over, and 2 down. It is very important that you look at the intervals by which the graph is counting. A negative 6 over 2 is a negative 3 slope. So it's really going over 3 down 1, over 3 down 1, over 3 down 1, or up 1 back, I'm sorry, up 3, no, up 1 back 3. Oh, shoot, I just did this weird, right? Because it's really a rise of 2. Sorry about that. I'm not going to re-record, so hang with me. It's a rise of 2. It's a negative slope and a run of 6. So I really should have looked at it this way. What's the rise and what's the run? So here's how I caught that. I looked at that and I know that 1/3 is a pretty gradual slope versus 3 is a really steep slope, right? So had I been going 3, let me do this in red. A negative 3 slope would have looked something more like this. So I was able to look back and catch that. So let's go ahead and write our slope intercept form. Sorry for that mistake. Please make sure that you fix that. Okay. So this is a negative 1/3. So it's going down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, and it is intersecting at a negative 2. There is my slope intercept form. Last one. And then you're going to do some practice problems on your own. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to scroll down. Okay. We have a fee of $50. This is a rental car. So we have Monica's family will be renting a car on their vacation. The car rents for an initial fee of $50 plus 50 cents a mile. Write a linear equation in slope intercept form to represent the situation and then graph it. So if we have the initial fee of $50, that is going to be my y-intercept. $50. Then my rate is going to be 0.5 cents, or sorry, $0.5 per mile or 50 cents per mile. But 0.5 is 1/2. And it's going to be a positive because they're charging me each time. So there's my equation, 1/2 x plus 50. So I start at 50 and then I'm going to go up 1/2 over 1, up 1/2 over 1, up 1/2 over 1. So I specifically picked numbers that would allow that to be easy on this graph. So at this point, I would say hit pause, go ahead and label up that graph and make sure that you graph a representation of 1/2 x plus 50. Okay, now what you're going to be doing is these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems on your own. This one has a graph that goes with it, and this one has multiple choice that goes with it. So please hit pause, pause, now to work independently. Let's see if I spelled that even remotely right. 20. Pause now to work independently. Please try each one of these. Okay. Um, the sub will walk around and help you if they can, but try each one of these. Okay. Check your classwork answers. So if you're at home, be sure you're practicing problems on your own and not just skipping on and taking a look at this. Remember, you can't learn math without doing math. So here are your answers. Hit pause and take a look at those. And be sure 40 for tonight, be sure 49 is complete. That was the one that we went over today, but if you haven't done it, I'll still take it tomorrow. After that, it's over. You'll just take a 0 on that one. The final is on Wednesday and Thursday. Remember, it's 14 questions. If you are exempt, bring something to do. Bye.